Thank you. Thank you very much. I was all set. I was all set with something smooth and slick as my clearly well-prepared introduction. And then this morning, I'm too old really to be on Facebook, I think, but they have this thing where moments pop up. And this morning, a moment popped up, which was a picture of myself with my two sisters and my mum when I was 8. And my sisters were just babies. And we're all there in traditional African dress on our balcony in Stockport in the 70s. And it's been a real distraction for me, this picture. Because I was going to come up in here and talk to you about the fact that you can't be part-time, about your time. And then this picture popped up, and all that I've been thinking about all morning is the flood of missed moments. All those times when I had her here that I did not take advantage of them. And this is ironic for me because it was my mother that helped me realize how you really do grab, harness time to do amazing things. My mum was a GP in Cheadle, and I'm aware that we're down south now, so about 4 people know where that is. A couple. And partly because my mother thought I should see her work, and partly because if left at home with my sisters, we would fight like cartoon characters. I used to go on visits with her and watch as she went and dealt with her patients. Even when I was 7 years old, this is when I first started doing this, and I would enter a home that she was going into. My mother did a lot of work with palliative care. So a lot of times the people she was going to see weren't going to get better. And I would enter these homes, and I remember at 7 talking to my mum and saying that even for me, why is the air so heavy in here? It's like I can't breathe properly because there was so much stress in the house. My mother would be whisked upstairs, and I would be sat downstairs. And this is the 70s, which is the time when doctors visit, you got out your best china. And so I would always have a cup and saucer thrust into my hand, full of tea, which kids don't drink, really. And I would sit there politely while the rest of the family just sat in stunned silence. Then my mother would come downstairs, and she would do this strange thing before she walked into the living room. She would stand and just look at them from edge to edge of the room, like she was scooping it up in her attention. Like she was making it clear for the people in the room that she may only have 3 or 4 minutes with you, but these 3 or 4 minutes are yours, no one else's. That she may have stuff that she did before this, and she may have things to do after this, but right now, these 3 or 4 minutes were yours, and then people would flood her with their fears and their questions and their worries, and, oh, Dr. Amaechi, I can't cope, how am I supposed to manage? Referencing whoever was sick upstairs. And she would let them talk for a little bit, and then eventually she would say, you can do this. And they would, no, doctor, you don't understand. And then she would do this thing where she just wave her hand in front of them and say, no. You can do this. This is what you're going to do. This, and this, and this, and I'll see you in a week. And suddenly, like magic, I thought, the air got a little lighter. And all of a sudden, these people started repeating back, you're right, Dr. Amaechi, you will do this, and this, and this, and I'll see you in a week. And I was like, this is amazing. That same year, 1977, one of the best things ever to happen to me happened. And that was that the film Star Wars came out. And my mum took me to see it. And I always thought my mum was amazing, special. And she took me to see it, and we sat in the cinema, and we had a big box of popcorn to share. And as we're eating, about 22 and a half minutes into this film, approximately, There's a scene where Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker are in the speeder, and they've got the droids in the back, and they're going into Mos Eisley, and they get stopped by the stormtroopers, and the film should be over, and I was really confused. The film's over. They're just going to get caught. And the stormtroopers say to them, these are the droids we're looking for, and this old man waves his hand at the stormtroopers and says, these aren't the droids you're looking for. And they repeat back, these aren't the droids you're looking for. And I'm like, I missed the next 15 minutes of Star Wars the first time I'm watching it, because I spend the next 15 minutes staring into the side of my mum's head. Because I have seen this before. And as I'm staring at her, she's reaching down to grab some popcorn, and she sees me, and all she does is look at me and go, and from that moment on, and to this day, I realized that my mum was a Jedi. And even better than that, what we know from Star Wars is if that your mum is a Jedi, I'm a Jedi too. It's the whole reason I became a psychologist. The day after this, I'm once again going with my mum, but instead of going with her, I go to the library that's next door to her surgery, and I go up to the librarian, and I say to her, I need some books about becoming a Jedi. And this very patient librarian looks at me and says, well, the Star Wars. And I said, you misunderstand me. And I explained how my mum told people things, and they did what she said, and she looked at me and said, that sounds like psychology, and those are over there. So I wandered over to the books, but before I got to them, I turned back to her and I said, you can call it what you like. I know what it is. This is not what I was going to talk about today. But you can't be part-time about your time, because we don't want to be the kind of people that wait until a picture flashes up on our social media to remind us of just how many moments we have allowed to be stolen away from us because something else was too important, because the stress was too high, because they were too familiar. This is not just for success in our happiness in life, but also for our success in work. If we can be the kind of people who are as vigilant as Jedi in every moment, in every interaction, every decision, we are vigilant, then what you capture, the richness of it, is remarkable. I watched as my mother took families who had people who were never going to get better, who were never going to get well, and soon would be a wrenching hole in the hearts of these families. And she, just with her attention to time, just with her vigilance for moments and the people in them, lifted the air that was crushing them. This is the power we have when we make sure that we are not part-time with our time. Thank you.